Okay, today we have Prendergast of Comma Insurance in, and he is going to share some knowledge on what he actually shares with his clients. So they do all kinds of commercial homeowners, vehicle. We're going to talk specifically today about homeowners, and again, perfect timing because there was a huge hailstorm yesterday in the area. So we're so good at marketing that we actually make it hail for our clients. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. But so Pierce, kind of tell our audience here, which is mostly home repair contractors, mostly roofing contractors, what are you telling your customers? What are you advising them today?
So today what I'm advising them is really, if you're having door knockers come out, right? Or roofers are door knockers in this day and age, and that's just kind of the nature of the business. That's really a good way for them to get business and get onto a roof. What I tell people first and foremost is, A, are you seeing any leaking coming from your roof? Since we're in the middle of storm season, I don't want anybody to preemptively file a claim, because then we can have another hailstorm like we're expecting this evening to come through, and at that point you're going to have to double up and file another claim. So it doesn't all fall under one claim. A lot of people don't understand that. If there's two events, even if it's a day apart.
Wow.
So that does file as two claims, so you're paying two deductibles for that one roof.
I think that's good for roofing contractors to hear out there, because the ones that are doing it the right way, in my opinion, are not the ones that are like jumping down people's throats right away. They've been in the game for a while. They've been up on their branding for a while, and they're having people actually contact them.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's smart, like you're saying, to make sure that you have significant damage before you file that claim, because, I mean, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
There was a hailstorm. So imagine filing a claim then.
Right.
Then you file another claim today. So
yeah, exactly.
So really, roofing contractors should be almost advising the same thing.
I would like to think so. I know at the end of the day, money is what we're in the business for. At the end of the day, you got to make a living. But at the same time, if you're taking care of your clients in a professional manner to where they're not having to come back and file another claim, and then that looks bad on you, it looks bad on the contractor, it looks bad on the people that represent your company if you own that contracting business. Because 9 times out of 10, the client's not aware of that double deductible there. Especially with it being, like you said, a couple weeks apart. Allen got rocked by that hailstorm 2 weeks ago. I know people that had to get roofs replaced, and there were immediate needs for sure. But at the same time, what I like to tell people is look for those leaks, look for water coming through. Now, obviously, we want to make sure that's getting remediated as soon as possible. I want to make sure that they're getting that taken care of. And a lot of these roofing contractors, as you know, they'll offer to come tarp your roof in the middle of storm season. Now, thankfully, we're getting real close to the end of storm season right now. So it's getting to that cusp where we're almost to the point where we can go ahead and file that claim and not have that creeping thought of having to pay another deductible.
Right. And you hit a key word there, which is deductible, which has been a buzzword in the roofing industry lately. There's a lot of companies that will offer to pay the deductible, which we know is not legal, fraud and all those kinds of things. So kind of talk to us about, so on the insurance policy side, what are you recommending as far as a deductible? There's a lot of theories out there, 1%, 2%, all these different things. I believe there's something called home replacement type deal.
Replacement cost.
Educate us about that a little bit.
So what I like to provide my clients with, first and foremost, if I'm looking at a new client and I'm setting up a quote for them, I'll look at everything with a 1% deductible. That's probably it actually is the most sought after deductible for a wind and hail or a named storm, because it's going to all fall under that same category. So that 1% is derivative from your dwelling coverage or your coverage A on your homeowner's policy. So that 1%, say you have a $400,000 home. You have a hailstorm come through, that 1%, you're paying $4,000 out of pocket. Now, a lot of companies right now, especially in our area, because we're so affected by hail, they're starting to move that minimum deductible up to a 2%. So that's something that a lot of people need to look out for too, because a lot of these companies aren't reaching out and having that personal touch of telling a client, hey, your deductible is going up next year. And then they come to find out whenever they go to file a claim, They think that they have a 1% deductible. What I like to call confident planners is people who will actually take that deductible amount, put it in the savings in the bank account, so they have it ready to go if there is a claim. So last thing I would want somebody to have happen is they have that, just for example, that $4,000 for that deductible, and then come to the next year of that policy and now it's $8,000. So it's double what they were expecting. So they're not expecting that amount of money to be coming out of pocket. And I'm glad that you said replacement cost, because that's huge. A lot of companies offer actual cash value, and a lot of clients seek the cheapest homeowners insurance policy possible. And I understand that. Right. We've been hit really hard, just like every other market, whenever it comes to pricing. So rates have increased on insurance quite a bit. So having a higher deductible does lower your premium, but in the long run, you could be saving way more money with that lower deductible. Because if push comes to shove, you have that claim, you're going to be paying out way more than what you would have just because you wanted to save a couple $100 on your homeowner's insurance policy.
Right. No, that's good. That's good info and good insight. Thank you for sharing that.
Definitely.
Let's pivot a little bit. I'm sure that you've worked, several claims in your career and worked with different roofing companies.
Right.
And I'm sure that you know that there are some great roofing companies and not so great.
Right.
So whenever your homeowner is contacting you going, hey, Pierce, who do you know it just hailed that you can recommend to me?
Right.
What are you looking for in a quality roofing contractor to say, I put my stamp of approval to refer them to my client base?
Yeah, definitely. So first and foremost, I think a lot of people kind of go with this reviews. So if you can look up on Google, see the company's reviews, that's huge. Better Business Bureau, that's another big one. But whenever you have somebody that's actually coming to your house to get on your roof, you need to make sure that they are insured. You need to see that certificate of insurance. Ask them for it, because that's exactly what they're out there to do, is work on your building and your structure. And the last thing you would want to do is have somebody without insurance getting on your roof. And in the state of Texas, unfortunately, you don't have to have a license to be a roofer.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of guys will slap a magnet on their truck, drive up to your house, start door knocking. It's a great way for them to make money, but that's also a good way for an insured to have a terrible experience with a roofer.
Wow, yeah, that's a great point, bringing up the insurance. So if you are a roofing contractor listening to this, Pierce hit on some key things that I want to kind of recap. Make sure that you're getting reviews on your Google business profile. Make sure that you are joining places like the Better Business Bureau, because people are going to look for those kinds of credentials. And then make sure that you have an insurance policy that can cover just in case there's any kind of a slip and a fall or something happens. Right. And I'm understanding, Pierce, that you guys can do commercial insurance as well.
So we do provide commercial. Okay. I'm more specified on the personal side of it until we build up that book of business to get the commercial going good. But really, whenever it comes to the commercial side of insurance, I mean, I've got a plethora of knowledge and a lot of people that I know that I lean on whenever it comes to that, since I am really focused on the personal side.
Right.
So I try to make it as good of an experience for both the client and the contractor, because at the end of the day, I know a lot of my contractors out there. If you're listening, I know there's companies that you just hate to work with as far as insurance goes.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. That was going to be my next question. We're not going to name any names because we are recording this, on the audio but video. But that. There are companies that even roofing contractors prefer that their customers have. And one of my questions to you was, I've been in this industry long enough to know that there's something called a captive agent.
Exactly.
And then there are brokerages, and I believe you're part of a brokerage where you can go out and kind of source out, different companies. But at the end of the day, it's all about claims and then paying the claim. So kind of talk to me about the difference between your large captive agencies and then a brokerage like yours.
So with the captive side of things, what I like to think of, and I do come from a captive background. I did work for a captive agency for 3 years. And what I like to think of is the word captive, right? So what does that bring to mind? So pretty much means that your hands are tied behind your back. So at the end of the day, a lot of times, like I said earlier, going back to the insurance premiums, whenever they're starting to go up and skyrocket with that one company, you have no availability to get a cheaper price without compromising coverage. And that's what I hated about being in the captive side of the industry, is the only way I could help a client get a more desired premium is by compromising that coverage. Now with the companies that I work with, they're all A-rated, they're all very, very good at what they do, and a lot of contractors love working with them. That's why I push their products opposed to others. So with that being said, coming from a brokerage standpoint, you get to give options at the end of the day, but you also get to show what companies have worked best for other clients that you work with. I have clients that have claims experiences all the time. That's what our industry is about, just like you said. At the end of the day, insurance is there to cover the things that you're not prepared to cover. So that's the biggest thing to me, is really working with a brokerage. You can see all the options, and you can truly see where you sit in the market as far as your policy goes. Now, every company is different. Mm-hmm. Not every company has the exact same coverage and coverage options, but that's something I look at on a case-to-case basis, because insurance is not one size fits all. That's for sure. And that's what I kind of want to drive home for a lot of people, because I have so many clients that'll tell me, oh, my neighbor's paying this much with this company. And it's like, well, you guys are in completely different situations. It doesn't matter how closely your properties are. If it's the same floor plan, you guys could have two completely different insurance credit scores, is what we like to call it. So at that point, I can look at other companies that may better suit that person and kind of get it closer to your neighbor Joe.
Gotcha. No, that's interesting to hear, and that's another value add, in my opinion, of going with someone like you. And just like you refer other roofing companies, I'm sure that roofing companies will also refer different insurance agents, because they may find, that a buddy of theirs or a homeowner has, one of these larger, captive companies, and they're like, look, if you were to file a claim, it's going to make our job harder. So you may want to look at going with someone like Pierce, like Comma, to make, not only your experience better, but selfishly our experience a little 100% bit better as well.
Definitely.
So what are some things that you bring to the table to where roofing companies should be like, yeah, they can you should definitely make the switch over to Pierce because of
the biggest thing I think that is my advocate on that is I work hand in hand with these contractors all the time. So I pick their brains. Hey, what company are you seeing the most pushback from whenever you're working on a roof? Hey, who's the company that you're seeing the most success from whenever it comes to filing that claim in the easiest process for both you and the homeowner? Because I want to understand it from both perspectives so I can really advise in the best way possible. Whenever it comes to being a broker opposed to being captive, it kind of blows my mind just the differences that I've seen between carriers and companies. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of captive companies out there that are fantastic. They take care of their clients really well. But at the end of the day, they're still working for that company.
Right.
I'm working for the clients truly, and I get big satisfaction out of that, opposed to saying, hey, I'm bringing it back to the company. I got to wait for them to give me an answer. No, I'm going to fight tooth and nail 100% for you, not the company. So that's my biggest value add, honestly, is I really work for the client. I do not work for your State Farms or your Allstates. I work for the client.
No, I love that. And, I've known you long enough to know that you are a man of integrity and that you care about your clients just like they're like family and friends to you. So
I'll give you that $20 later.
Yeah, right. So if you are a roofing contractor, definitely let your clients know, your customers know about Pierce. And we all know also that roofing contractors are people. They own homes. They own cars. So if you're listening to this and you want to get a quote from Pierce and his agency, Pierce, how would they reach out to you? How can they connect with you?
So you can reach out to me directly on my phone. My line is going to be 945-212-1291. Or my email is also another good route, which is going to be my first last name, so pierce.prendergast at Comma Insurance. And I do apologize because that email is super long. I know it's a process.
Don't apologize, but do spell out your last name for us.
Yeah, definitely. Good. So my last name is spelled Prendergast. So exactly how it sounds.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I know you're probably busy with this
It's gonna be a
season,
long day.
this storm season, and I appreciate you taking the time and carving some time out today to drop some knowledge to our not only our roofing contractors, but anybody out there that may want to be looking at their coverage to make
Right.
sure that they're ready for the next storm. Thank you so much for coming on, Pierce.
Hey, I appreciate it, Mario.